Ooh, you're slippery. This isn't a kitchen. So dusty. Hi everybody, my name's Alex Napoli, and this is Health by Napoli, the show where we only cook healthy food that doesn't suck. What I'm working with today is an entire roasted chicken. So I just made this. If you want to learn the tutorial of how to do that, be sure to check out my other video. I'm gonna link to it down below. All right, so the night you cook it, obviously you're gonna have some juicy, delicious, awesome chicken. So definitely the biggest parts of meat are gonna be the breast and the legs. So to get the breast, you go beside the backbone, you come down the side and kind of scoop it out, and then you can literally take off the entire breast. It's a little wings. Really, your hands are gonna be your best weapons here. Now what we need is a great big pot. Because what we're gonna do is actually take all of the bones from the chicken and throw them into this pot. So meat's going on my right, bones are going on my left. All this cartilage stuff, that's all gonna go in here. My number one favorite thing about making homemade chickens, homemade turkeys, is that you get this amazing stock. Now the whole reason I'm doing this video is because I was doing it the other day and my husband was like, why don't you make a video about that? I feel like nobody knows how to do that. I don't know if this is a thing that people know how to do. I'm not a brain reader, but I've definitely been to a number of parties where, you know, they made a giant roasted bird and then they just threw the whole carcass out. And I was like, what? Really? Okay. So I'm gonna take the onions from here and I'm gonna put them in our stock too. I'm not gonna put the lemons in there just because, you know, that's not really the flavor I want necessarily in the stock. You really just have to like get in here with your hands. Channel your inner caveman, your inner like wilderness woman. The other thing you wanna keep in mind is that you don't wanna put the full carcass into the water. Technically you could, but it's gonna be way boiling over and just kind of weird. So you really wanna like rip it apart before you put it in here. All this under meat is really good. This is like the dark meat side. I don't really like dark meat. What about you? Are you a dark meat or a light meat kind of person? Apparently the dark meat is healthier for you and has more like nutrients. Okay, so this is the whole carcass. You really don't want to put it in whole like that. You just have to rip it up a little bit and then put it in like larger kind of chunks. You have all this kind of goo in the bottom of your pan. I'm gonna add that to my stock. Okay, so you can definitely just stop here, fill this with water and let it boil. Or we can add a couple other things and make it really, really great. You might remember our giblets from earlier. So this is the chicken guts and livers and things like that. So I'm gonna add these to our stock. Organ meat is really high in vitamin A, so it's a nice thing to add in here because I would never eat it by itself. I've tried chicken livers, not a thing that I want in my mouth. So we're gonna add just a couple of things that go in kind of any start of any soup. An onion. We do not have to take the skins off of this because we're gonna strain this whole thing later, and the skins actually add some nice flavor. So just chop it roughly, throw them in. Carrots. Again, all of this is just for flavor. So you don't have to peel, you don't have to worry about taking the nub off. Really, you just want a couple of decent sized chunks of carrots. Celery. I'm gonna put the whole thing in. I'm gonna rinse it first because it seems a little bit dusty. Great big rough chop on this. Okay, so other things that you could add in here, if you had some big bunches of fresh parsley or oregano, if you had leeks or any other kind of like onion family friend, you could do that. Let's do a couple cloves of garlic. So again, I'm just gonna cut this bad boy in half and then throw it in. I grabbed a couple of sprigs of very dried out herbs from my garden. I'm gonna do a couple of full peppercorns. So you could crush it up, but if you do them whole, then they strain out when you're done. That's probably too many. Okay, I'm not gonna salt it yet because there was a lot of salt on the skin and the skin is kind of salty in itself. So I'm gonna let it cook off before I decide if I wanna add more salt. But so for now, I'm gonna fill the water up very, very high. Okay, so this is very full. Normally, you would never fill a stock pot up this high. But the whole point of this is that the water is gonna reduce as we cook. So it's like a slow simmer. This is gonna sit on the stove for hours and hours and hours. At first, I'll put it at like a medium, and then when I see it starting to bubble, I'm gonna turn it down to a low, and then just let it ride. The longer that it goes, the more deeper and richer the flavor is gonna be. I'll be back in a couple of hours, and we'll check on it then. Ooh, leave it uncovered. No lid. Let's talk about skin, baby. Let's talk about you and me. That's my segue. It's come to a real boil, and it's been about 45 minutes. So you'll notice that a lot of stuff is kind of floating. Words hard. But you'll also notice that there's like a bit of a skimmy kind of like film. So that's what I'm gonna try to remove right now. I have this little fancy device. It separates fat from stock, and it also has a little strainer on the top. Technically, you could just throw this in the trash, but this is a way to kind of do it that lets you save more of your final product. But so it's already got a really nice deep rich color. It hasn't really reduced at all yet. It just started to boil. But so for the next, whatever, like 2, 3, 4, 6 hours, I'm just gonna keep a watch over it. I'm gonna skim anything else off that I don't really love the look of. And then I'll have my beautiful crystal clear stock. Putting this back onto low heat. Okay guys, it's been a couple of hours and I've been skimming the top off. I've poured it back in a couple of times, but the cool thing about this is that you take the plug out and then the fat layer is on the top and the good stuff stays on the bottom. And then you can just pour the good stuff back into your stock. See me still. Okay, so this is really nice. It's got a great golden color to it. It's decreased by about 1 inch of water, so it's evaporated, as you can see, like 1 inch of water. So now we need to strain it. All right, so I don't actually have a professional strainer. This is a Fasta strainer, and I'm gonna put it through here first. But make sure that you use gloves because the handles are very hot. So just be very careful. Okay, so all of our stock insides are resting here. I'm gonna put it like that. Now I'm gonna put this through a finer strainer. Now this would be a really good time if you had cheesecloth to use cheesecloth. This is basically like a baker's cloth, something like that. So I think this will be better. It's more like cheesecloth. Again, do this over the sink. Ah! Oh yeah. Let that go for a little bit. How big of a mess did I make? Good thing I had a giant towel right there. Now technically you don't even need to strain it this much. I've definitely done it before where I did not strain it this much. I feel very olden-timey right now. I'm a pioneer woman. All right, that's as good as it's gonna get. Okay, now we have the most beautiful stock ever. You can freeze it and have it as stocks to start your soups or your stews. I'm so popular. Wah! Look how beautiful that is. It's so delicious, that golden amber color. It tastes like the best chicken soup you've ever had in your life. So now, anytime you make a chicken, be sure to make this stock. It's so easy, it's so delicious, and it's such a great thing to have in your freezer all the time. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stock your freezer with this golden goodness. See you later.